Hello, and welcome to CatavanCast, van life with a cat. It's a show where we discuss our experiences travelling through the many countries of Europe, or in this case Africa, in a camper van. I'm Ben.
I'm Frey. And Dargo's, I think, asleep at the front.
She is. We're back in the van.
We are back in the van. She's had an excitable day.
She has an excitable day. We're back in the van. We're back in the UK.
Yes.
Obviously, we had to miss last week's podcast because last week we just had no time to record.
No.
Because we drove all the way from just east of Athens.
Yep.
To the West Midlands in the UK in 7 days.
7 days?
Yeah, in about 7 days. That was a long drive.
Yes.
But we're here now.
We are.
Temporarily self-isolating.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't told to. That's a whole other issue
thing.
with the.
We'll cover that in a separate podcast, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, by the time we get to that, it'll all be finished. But who knows? No. So we're currently hiding out in my parents' back garden at the moment.
Yes.
But it means we can record in the van, which I believe has better acoustics than the room in the house.
Yes.
In Porto Rafti. And yes, hopefully this will sound a bit better.
Yes. Every now and then there will be a big thump.
Yes, good point. We are parked under an acorn tree, or an oak tree, if you will. And the acorns, if they don't land on the van directly, they bounce off the shed and onto the van.
Yes.
So yeah, if you hear a loud bang, that's what that is. And this is part 3 of our Morocco mini-series.
Yes.
So I'll just say last week for ease, we done Casablanca, Tangier, and Rabat.
Rabat, yep.
And we'd also done that in
Belmusk,
and we were parked up at the beach in Essaouira Beach.
Yes. Yes.
So now we pick up after there.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Essaouira.
Yes.
Which was the first proper touristy place that we'd been to. It's kind of an up-and-coming touristy place.
Yes, if you remember correctly, one of my old work chaps actually recommended Essaouira before we left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. That.
Oh, he did. Yes.
Meal,
yeah.
yes.
With the goodbye meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, it was recommended.
Yeah, because Morocco, because it is what do you call it, a burgeoning touristy? No, not burgeoning. It's an up-and-coming tourist destination. An emerging, there you go. Tourist destination. Marrakesh and Agadir are the big ones.
Yes.
The Essaouira obviously wants a bit of that, slice of that pie.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell straight away just by how clean it is and how big the streets are. But we'll get to that because there was other things of note on the way.
There were.
Some mysteries. Now, we mentioned before how Morocco has lots of police checkpoints.
Yes.
Randomly out and about. There was a noticeable increase in the amount of police checkpoints.
There were. We wondered why.
Yeah, and there were some of the big roads were lined with Moroccan flags.
Yes.
And just a heavy police presence.
Mm-hmm.
But we got into Essaouira, and Essaouira has a huge beach.
Yes.
Huge public beach. And we parked, there's a big car park where lots of other motorhomes and camper vans were on the southern end of that beach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also the place to go if you want a camel or quad bike ride.
Yes.
Because there were just herds of camels, weren't there? Just sat and
chilling.
Plenty of quad bikes ready to go, and they were all trying to, do you want a camel ride? No, thank you, no. But Essaouira, so you've got the new town, quote-unquote new town, takes up the majority of the beach. But the old town, the Medina, was just right at the northern end.
Yes, and there's a little harbour there as well, isn't there?
There is. It was interesting to know, we weren't sure at the time why, we've since found out there were, all along this beach, you could go out and do plenty of water sports. So there were diving, scuba diving, wakeboarding, all the booths along the beach where you can go and sign up for that, but no one was swimming. And we didn't know whether that was anything to do with, not public indecency laws, but modesty rules or anything like that. Turns out no, it's just because it's the Atlantic and it will mess you up.
It will
you. The waves are huge, so you can only go into the sea with trained professionals, basically, when they're supervising you. It was a very good walk into the Medina, and before you even get there, you can tell it's a more tourist-friendly place. Everything was definitely. Just so much noted. Like, there are still a few locals going about, but it's much more tourists there
Yeah.
Everything's clean, everything's bright. All the streets are quite wide and open.
Yeah.
And things aren't spilling out into the streets so much as they are in their shops, sort of thing. And I remember there was a lot of just high quality graffiti around as well, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. Yeah, I was taking pictures of it all as I was going along.
Yeah, getting very artsy. Yeah, so the first stop we went to was actually the fishing docks, which was nice.
Yeah.
It was a sight to see.
Bit smelly.
Bit smelly.
Lots of cats
Very
and seagulls around.
Yeah, well, the sky was full of birds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And cats just... Well, Morocco in general has a lot of cats.
Yeah.
But I think Essaouira was the first place where it's like, yeah, there's cats here. Like, noticeably, there's just a lot of cats. And so, yeah, went around the market. It was only really here where you got the people coming up trying to sell you bits of tat.
Yeah.
Everybody else sort of just kept to their shops.
Yeah.
And there was a lot less of the people trying to pull you in to their shops, which personally I appreciate.
Yeah.
You know, I like being left alone. Sort of, I'll make my mind up, sort of thing. And they did have markets, so you could still go through, and they had people selling rugs, people selling clothes.
Yeah.
Again, more touristy, and no one's trying to pull you in, and not nearly as chaotic as, say, Casablanca.
Or Marrakesh.
Or, well, Marrakesh. We'll come to Marrakesh as own thing, but because at this point we hadn't done Marrakesh. But compared to Casablanca, was the one big local market we went to.
Yes,
it
was.
But we did find the local market in Essaouira.
We did, and that's kind of cool.
Which was still a more pleasant atmosphere than the other big cities.
Yeah,
again,
definitely.
big wide streets, but that's where you get your fruit and veg and your day-to-day clothes and stuff like that. The other good thing as well, because it's an up-and-coming tourist city, is that you can get tourist stuff for much, much cheaper than somewhere than, say, Marrakesh. I'll make this comparison now. We bought a couple of Moroccan cups.
Yes.
And it was like, it worked out about the equivalent of £2 each, something like that. And I broke mine because I'm an idiot. And we got to Marrakesh, I saw the same ones, and the guy wanted about 3 times the price.
Yeah.
I said, well, you can get this so much cheaper in Essaouira. He said, no, you can't. Yes, you can. I've just been there. Like, so yeah, Essaouira is, it's kind of like the little known touristy place.
Yes. Yeah.
But
it is good.
It is very good.
It's not as busy as even Casablanca or anything like that.
Because the old town isn't as large, is it?
No.
And it's not a famous.
No.
No one's really heard of Essaouira. We did go and get something to eat there. We felt like we may have paid a little over the odds for our meal. It was also directly opposite a Moroccan rug shop, which was tempting us the whole way through the meal.
The whole time.
Yes, just there. Buy a rug. We want to carry it around in our van for ages. And the cats will come up and sit pretty for you.
Yes.
In an attempt to get any scraps of food.
I think there was one table that we saw, and people just sat there eating their lunch. There were about 6 cats around their feet.
Yeah.
Just sleeping because they'd given up on the hope of food.
And there were plenty of places in there. I think they did lots of expeditions out.
Oh yeah.
For various things. Because you are within driving distance of Agadir, if you take the main roads.
Yeah. That's
to Agadir or to Paradise Valley, places like that. But we were taking ourselves, so we didn't do anything you had to pay for in Essaouira.
Nope.
It was just a pleasant place to walk around. We did get a bit lost in the back streets as well, didn't we?
We did.
Which get quite labyrinthian.
Yeah.
But no, we eventually found our way back to the... You think, oh, just keep heading this way. It's like, no, okay, maybe it's this one then, and you don't realise you've actually turned a corner. You've gone around a bend before turning a corner. Now you're somewhere you don't know where you are. But no, the touristy bit is quite self-contained.
Yeah. In
the Medina, and it was just a pleasant walking around experience, just seeing it. So quite a pleasant contrast to the other cities we've been to so far. But then we needed somewhere to stop.
Yes.
And this was a jaunt in itself. We'd heard of a place just outside of the town. It's like a guy's little compound.
Yeah.
Where he loves meeting new people from new places. It's that whole sort of everybody together, sort of share story sort of thing. And we pulled up, but unfortunately he was at capacity.
Yeah, I think he's only got space for maybe 2 or 3 campers.
Yeah, because it's literally just a drive on top of a steep hill, so you don't want to camp on the hill. No. I wouldn't trust the handbrake to hold us, to be honest. He said, no, unfortunately we're full, we can't take you. Okay, so we found another campsite, a proper, well I say proper campsite, further out of the city.
Yeah.
They were full as well.
Yeah.
And we thought, what's going on? Why is everywhere full?
Why is everything
What's
so
happening?
full?
But that guy recommended a huge campsite further out of the city, which involved driving down. There's 2 roads to get there. One of them is 3 kilometres long. One of them is 5 kilometres long. And neither of them had proper tarmac.
No.
They had the ironwork put in, but not the tarmac. So you couldn't really go above about 20 kilometres an hour, maybe, if that, without worryingly shaking the van so much. Like, it was hilariously worrying.
Well, I got you to jump out and film it, didn't I?
Yeah, because it was so. Yeah,
This is ridiculous.
you get past the point you're like, this is awful.
Yeah.
And I think we drove out. I think we drove in on the longer road, but we came out in the morning on the shorter road. But that was in even worse condition.
Yeah.
It was like, it's just a horrible place to put a campsite. Like, I'm sure the people in the big German monster truck things we saw driving around, I'm sure they have no problem with it. But for our little Renault Master, it was not good.
No, she didn't have much fun, did she?
No. We got to the campsite. Should I name the campsite? Seeing as we're going to talk down about it.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a Spirit Nature Camp. Very nice campsite.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very thoughtfully laid out as well.
But you have to drive past the whole campsite to get to the reception building, which it's a French woman that owns it, and she sorts us out. Yeah, we pay for the night. I think it was €20 for the night,
which is quite steep for Morocco.
That is expensive for Morocco, and that doesn't include electric. But there was literally no other options for us, unfortunately. And then you have to sort of drive back down this single lane, which you just drove in on. So if someone else is coming in as you're going out, then you're stuck. I don't know what will happen there. But again, it was very nice, very peaceful night. But they do, if you're not out by, I think it was 11 o'clock the next morning, they will charge you for a second night, which is absurd.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's a thing. And there's other stuff, like there was a swimming pool, but you had to pay extra for that. You had to pay extra for your electric. The shower and toilet block was free, and the water dumping and filling was included as well, so that's fine. But no, everything, it's kind of like, well, what other choice have you got? You've got to stay here.
Yeah.
Which was a shame. I mean, the woman was nice enough, and she gave us a newsletter of what's going on in Essaouira and things to do, things like that. And she told us the next morning when we were paying that the reason all the police presence were there, so this was on a Saturday morning, is because the King of Morocco was going there today.
Yeah.
So that explains all the police, and they're just making sure the roads are all clear. So we thought, oh, well, we just missed that. That's typical. We just missed Christmas markets and king visits and everything else.
The king.
But no, our next destination was Paradise Valley.
Yes.
Named by Jimi Hendrix.
Yes, Jimi Hendrix himself.
Because it was part of the hippie trail.
Yes.
Which, I don't know where that went, actually.
I'm not so sure.
I didn't
think it went down to Africa, but...
No, because I know it goes through Afghanistan, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or it did. I don't think they recommend that route anymore. No, Jimi Hendrix called it Paradise Valley, and so that's what it's called now. It's in the High Atlas Mountains.
Is it? No.
Is it? The Low Atlas Mountains.
I think it's in
the Anti-Atlas Mountains.
Not
Some sort of Atlas Mountains.
Yeah, somewhere in the Atlas Mountains.
Somewhere in the mountains. You're not, like, on a map, it's sort of north-east-ish of Agadir.
Yeah.
It was right in the mountains. We were heading off that way, and didn't take us long to get off the big roads and onto, not the mountain road straight away, just a lot of the smaller roads. And then we did get into the mountain road. This was the first time the van actually got so hot we had to stop.
Yeah.
Although the temperature warning light came off. But you'll be in... I remember that was when you come up and over mountains, and then you're down into the valleys at the foot of the mountains. And it's like you're in a tropical oasis.
Yeah.
There's thick, lush greenery, palms, there's rivers running down. And there's little villages just in the middle of nowhere. Well, you can still get Morocco Telecom top-up cards.
Yes, of course.
Wherever you are. And tight, twisty hairpins that you're not quite sure the van's going to make it round. Like, it's just big enough. And then you crest a mountain, and then you're back down the other side of it. And then, opening out to more valleys. It was an amazing drive.
It was.
It was hard on the van. you kind of watching the uphill segments, being like, look, I'm enjoying the view we're getting from the altitude, but as we get higher, the van works harder and the air gets thinner.
Yeah.
So it heats up a lot quicker. But we eventually got there and we parked. So Paradise Valley, there is proper parking for it.
Yes.
But we actually parked at a big dirt park bit at the top of the start of the walking routes, as labelled on Google Maps. But we were actually just outside a town, and I have it written down somewhere. The small village of Tagnerat.
Okay.
Probably butchering that pronunciation. Tagnerat, that's the nearest one I could find on Google Maps anyway. It's not even, I say town, that's completely wrong. It was a village, wasn't it? It was just, it was barely even a village. It was just a few houses on the edge of a cliff, essentially.
Yeah. With hotels and stuff specifically for Paradise Valley.
Yes,
really,
yeah.
so.
And some restaurants and things.
Yeah.
So we parked up at this car park bit, and there were plenty of other vans there. All of it, there were no motorhomes.
No.
So you're out of that zone. You're out of that niche.
Yes.
It's the camper vans now. These are the converted vans. Everybody had a bit of a bohemian
vibe to them.
You know, people were setting up hammocks, and they all were wearing clothes they obviously get from the bohemian shop.
One bohemian shop.
Which I've never seen, but must exist, and it must be very popular with certain people.
And they were all playing drums. That was cool.
No, it was cool. I remember some local children, like a gang of them, sort of came down, and they were playing. Some guy had a little drum circle going. Yeah. And they went out playing with them. But then they get late at night, and they just start blasting like electric drum and bass music out of their van, and it's a bit like, you could not. It's Paradise Valley. It's for everybody. But no, we took a walk up to the restaurant we'd driven past, which was just like the husband sort of runs the restaurant, and the wife cooks, and there was us and one other couple in there. There was, I believe, she was Afghani, and he was Iranian, and they were just out they were spending just a few weeks in Morocco, weren't they?
Yes, yeah. They just travel around, and they just pop out for holidays every now and then.
Yeah.
They were from Germany.
Oh, were they? I'd forgotten that bit.
Yeah, they were from Germany, both of them.
Oh, okay. I forgot that bit.
So they spoke
excellent English.
Excellent English. They spoke German, and they spoke enough Arabic
to get by in
Morocco.
Yeah.
But they also spoke Farsi, which is how they kind of half understood each other.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
there's a whole mix of
that's
things.
That's an amazing relationship. I love it.
Yeah. You can have a secret conversation wherever you are.
Yeah.
No, and they were having trouble because we just to re-emphasise why Morocco Telecom is we don't work for them or sponsored by them, but they are the company you want to get a SIM card with when you're in Morocco.
Yeah.
Because he was with Orange, I think.
Yeah.
Because Orange is still a thing in Europe, in certain parts of Europe. Obviously in the UK it's now EE.
Yeah.
But Morocco Telecom, we were still getting decent signal in the middle of the mountains, whereas he wasn't.
Yeah, they were struggling with
and
it.
we let him use some of our data so we could find things like that. But yeah, Morocco Telecom is the one.
It is.
And of course we both turned up at sort of the same time, so now this little Moroccan mama's just in the kitchen cooking dinner for four all of a sudden. And it took a bit longer, but it was a fresh home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Tagine! And we got to sit outside on the edge of a cliff watching the sun go down over the Atlas Mountains. So that
was amazing.
That was worth it. I'm very friendly. They're all really happy to help. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
You know, if you need any advice or any help, things like that.
Well, we helped them out, didn't we? Because they were debating whether or not to go to a cave or to a spring or something like that.
Oh, them, yes. Yeah, that's why he wanted internet, because he wanted to look the thing up.
Yeah.
He wanted to look it up, yeah.
It was their final day.
I mean, I meant the owners.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yes, he was. They were looking for. That's why he wanted to know what network we were on.
Yeah.
Because we were getting signal and he wasn't. Yeah, I can't. I've only just remembered that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was. But anyway, then we walked back down to the van in the pitch black, on a road, which kind of like, oh god, we might get run over here.
Yeah, we were okay.
But we didn't. It was fine. And then the next day was Paradise Valley Day.
It was.
Now we got a bit lost at first because it turns out the routes are they paint arrows on rocks, and we just missed the first one typically. So we just ended up in a dead end in the middle of the desert. Like,
On the
yeah,
edge of a cliff, being
yeah.
like, we're supposed to be down there.
and, like, people die in places like this. So, yeah. We went back, found the arrow, and it wasn't a particularly hard trek.
No, not
I
at
think.
all.
Not even coming back.
No.
And there was a friendly dog trying to lead us.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when we were saying it would, like, Dargo would have loved it.
Mm.
But the thing with Morocco, same with parts of Spain as well, right?
Yeah.
There's too many wild dogs.
Yeah.
Like, when it's someone else's dog, they've got someone to tell them no
Exactly.
and control them. But when it's wild, no, you haven't. And I doubt they'd do anything to Dargo. They'd just be inquisitive as to what she is.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
But at that time, Dargo was, you know, freaking out every single time she saw another four-legged thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's quite on edge. But the walk... excuse me, something in my throat to do. The walk from where we were parked, so that's the start of the hiking trail, to the bottom of Paradise Valley. Maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. Again, quite an easy route. And whenever you start thinking, just before you start thinking, are we still on the right track, there'll be another arrow.
Yeah.
Which is handy. And yeah, you just get all the way down to the bottom. The unfortunate thing about when we went, and we soon read up, due to a severe lack of rain over the last several months, is
over the last year.
Over the last
we had
year.
no rain for a full year.
Because Paradise Valley is supposed to be, isn't it, a river with lots of splash pools,
Yes.
like diving pools,
Yeah.
that you just jump off a cliff and into this pool. There was so little water there,
Yeah.
you could walk along. Like the riverbed was dry. That river's just not flowing anymore.
No.
And the splash pools were very shallow and very green.
Yeah.
They obviously rely on the running water to keep them cleaned out, which is, you know, it's a shame. Oh, it's a shame the river's not running, but it's also like, yeah, this isn't a good thing that's happening.
No.
Like, why is there no rain? And then there's a whole environmental issue with that, which we're not going to get into on this. But it was still really good because you get down the bottom and there is still water down there.
Yeah.
And so people have set up little restaurants down there. And so we sat.
We did.
And it took ages for our food.
It
We
did.
were probably there for about 3 hours just for... It started off as a light breakfast and we thought, okay, we better order more because we've been here a while. But no, we were down. There were hammocks you could lie in, and there was right down by the river.
Yeah.
Or the pool, rather.
The pool, yeah.
And there were lots of little cats and kittens.
Little baby cats.
They came out, and the owners kind of like... Because as we said, in Morocco, they keep cats around because they keep the vermin away.
Yeah.
But they don't... They seem to think customers don't like cats.
Mm.
I don't imagine a lot of people don't like cats. But us and the other people there really like cats. And we like the fact they come up and say hello. So they're the people owning the place obviously like, oh, go away. No, but you are making people happy. I'm not sure. Okay. But no, it was cool just to be able to get all the way down there and have a meal.
Yeah.
It would sort of energise you for the climb back up.
Yes.
But we were hoping that there was a way. So we were hoping there was a way we didn't have to go the same route back.
Yeah.
So we sort of followed a different walking path, didn't we?
Mhm.
It sort of takes you up and down back to where the river would be.
Mhm.
And then we followed the river bed up a little bit until we got to a point where this is impassable
Yeah.
without gear. Like, you can't.
There's this cliff
Yeah,
edges
just
on
a lot
either
of
side.
rock. Yeah.
It's just a ravine now.
But still feeling, because it's a ravine at the bottom of a dried river at the foot of a huge mountain. Like, I've not felt as small in many other places. It's,
Yeah.
but you do get to that point. It's a little bit drains your morale a little bit when it's like, right, we've got to walk all the way back to
All the way
this
back.
bit to then start the proper way back.
Yeah.
But we did.
We did.
We did.
Yes.
We got back, and luckily this was the time because this was still January.
Mhm.
And we were parked in. It was a little bit shaded, the car park, so we were okay leaving Dargo in there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do that
No.
in the summer
no,
or spring. It'd be far too hot for
No.
her.
Not at all.
It was warm enough because we were getting a bit of a walk on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also Paradise Valley was where the first time I felt a little bit more, not relaxed, but because I tried to keep my arms covered because I have tattoos, and it's trying to be respectful. I think Paradise Valley was the first time I was like, well, there's people walking around in sleeveless shirts and
Yeah.
Daisy Duke shorts. Like, I'll roll my sleeves up because I'm getting a bit warm. Yeah. Or roll them back down if need be. But no, Paradise Valley was... It's an excellent drive to and from it.
Yeah.
And it is definitely worth going to visit.
It is.
It's just a shame it hadn't rained for so long.
Yeah.
Because it would have been so good to go diving in it.
It would have been amazing. Not even to go diving in it, just to see water.
Well, yeah, the running water
proper
coming through
amount
there.
of water there.
Because it's still lush with life.
It is.
There's still so much
It
life
is.
there. So many... I know the cacti, they don't need much, but so much of it.
Yeah.
And all the trees and everything.
But
Just in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of, like, lifelessness.
yeah.
There's just this valley of paradise, if you will. So, yeah. The next day, we carried on down the other side. Well, the way out sort of took you down to the valley floor.
Yes.
And then you follow what would be the river out the other end of it. And then back up again out the towns. And you have the little villages there, because that route between there and Agadir is obviously where the excursions come.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
Agadir. So the little villages there, they're all selling stuff.
Yes.
And they'll all come out there, wave at you as
There's
you go
little
by.
cafes and everything like that along the riverside as well.
Yeah. And so we carried on, we got back out onto the big roads, and got into Agadir. Now Agadir is like the number 2 tourist spot. We didn't actually see that much of it.
No.
Because a lot of it in Agadir itself is more, it's just like you have a hotel resort and you go to the beach.
Yep.
And they have a huge, again, and like in Essaouira, another huge long beach with a promenade on it, where there's people selling art, which we bought some
We
of.
bought one, yeah.
Very, very good art, reasonably priced. Put some in the van. And that's, the hotels have their deck chair areas set out.
Yes.
So you have all the...
Naked old fat people.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Too late, you have. It's out there now. Everything else from Agadir is... Like, there's a castle on, I think, the north end.
Yes, there is.
But that's not walking distance from Agadir.
Nope.
You need to either drive up or get an excursion up there. So for Paradise Valley, like a lot of the things worth doing in Agadir are outside of Agadir. But we did go to the market, because the market's one of the largest, or something. So I've caught you at the wrong time there.
Yes, it's okay. Sorry. Yes, it is. I believe so.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, wasn't it? It had everything.
Well, because at this point we were looking, because Morocco has no LPG, and we'd run out of LPG in the van.
Yes.
But we did have your camping stove, your Trangier.
Yes.
Trangier.
Trangier.
So we needed methylated spirits.
Yep.
Which isn't called methylated spirits.
No.
It's drinking alcohol.
No, it's burning alcohol.
Sorry, the opposite. If you really want to get drunk, yes, burning
Kill
alcohol.
Yourself.
But that's what it is in French. I don't think we couldn't figure out what it was in Arabic.
No.
So we're going into these hardware. We're making our way to the big market, and we stopped and had something to eat on the way.
Yes.
They're very reasonably priced. Because you're out at this point, you're kind of out of the touristy area.
Yeah.
So things are the locals go to these places. So
Yeah.
that's where you get the best deals, and usually the best food as well. If the locals are going there,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, that's a good place to go. So we were heading towards the big market, looking for like DIY shops along the way.
Yeah.
And you have to go in and ask them for burning alcohol, and all they see is the word alcohol, and they're just like, "No, I've got paint and a hammer. I'm not an off license.
Yeah.
I'm also Moroccan. We don't sell alcohol." But no, we did find some.
We found some.
All
Yeah.
the jokes, and that did us. And then we carried on to the market, and the market is literally, it was anything, wasn't it? If you want tomatoes or a wardrobe made to order,
Yep.
with some carpets along the way and some aftershave, it was absolutely
Just everything.
huge, and it was quite open. It was all indoors, wasn't it?
It was covered.
Connected by some outdoor square bits.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely everything you want, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was enormous.
Yes. Anything and everything. Under one roof.
Under one roof.
That'd be a good advert for it, I
One
think.
big giant roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that was... Yeah, and again, that's kind of a good mix of a touristy market and a local market. You can get everything you need to be done, and you can get some tat for people back home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And that was, other than that and the beachfront, that's all we really saw of Agadir. I do remember on the walk back to the beach, there was a lot of property development going on.
Oh yeah.
Again,
and lots.
just showing that Morocco, kind of feel bad for them, because this year must have really knocked them back. because their tourism numbers were growing year on year. And with Agadir being big choice number 2 for people going there. Yeah, so hope it hasn't affected them too much. But there, again, isn't a lot to do if you're on foot or on a bit of a budget. But it was a very nice beach.
Yeah.
Again, no one's swimming, but they're all beach bars.
Yeah.
And all the hotels are there. And I remember on all the beaches, lots of volleyball nets and things set up. People just having big games. But that was all we saw of it. Didn't really get to explore much of it. Oh no, there was something else we just missed. So we just missed the King. And I think, was it either the next weekend or the next day, they were starting a street food festival.
Yeah.
Because they were setting up for it. I think it was between them and some other Moroccan...
Another place nearby, I think, yeah.
Yeah, like a cultural exchange of foods.
Yeah.
Which looked amazing. But they were setting up for it, so we missed it. Because we miss everything. Always by a hair's breadth as well.
Yes.
But now we were heading to... Well, our next destination proper was Legzira. Which was to be our most southern point of Morocco.
And the trip.
Out of the trip, yeah. But we weren't going to get down there in one night. So we headed on the big roads going down there, out of Agadir. And we ended up just north of the town of Tiznit. Yes. In a so new it wasn't finished campsite.
Yeah.
And it really stands out, doesn't it?
It does, very much so.
Because we were on a big long road. It was a dual carriageway road, yeah. Not a toll road, big dual carriageway, just big straight line to the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
And there's just an illuminated castle front with giant camels out the front. Oh, okay. So we had to go past it and come back, turn around somewhere.
Yes.
And we did, and the guy came to the gate and said, "Yeah, you can come in." And like with all other campsites,
yeah,
you have to give them where you've been, where you're going, passport information, stuff like that. But the good thing about this campsite was everything was solar powered.
Yeah.
So it's like a carbon neutral as much as possible.
I think that's what he was trying to set up. They were having some issues because that did mean that there wasn't much night power.
Yeah, they didn't have any batteries installed yet for that.
But they are working on it, and that's commendable.
Yeah, hopefully by now.
Yeah, hopefully.
But the other thing they also didn't have was drinking water.
Yes.
Which, again, they were setting up, they were going to have a shop, as I think as a stand-in for the time being. That was selling water. And he did, when I asked for drinking water, which is potable in French.
Yes.
I asked for potables, drinking water. When I asked for it, he did offer to send someone out to go and buy some.
Yeah.
There was a garage just down the road. I said, "Oh no, we want to fill the tank up." He said, "Okay, no problem." But there, I say, a couple of teething problems, which some of the older people there were kind of quite annoyed about.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to wait for the washing machine because it needs to get enough sunlight and then charge up. So yeah, but you're here all day. Like,
yeah,
what's your problem?
Chill.
And I couldn't get a warm shower, unfortunately. I think as it's solar-powered water heating, that maybe wasn't working properly.
Yeah.
You got a warm shower, didn't you?
I think I did, yeah.
I think the women got a warm shower, but the men
I think you
didn't.
went too early.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
What it was, yeah.
Quite possibly, yeah. But no, it was very nice, and like most places, most campsites we'd been to up until this point, we only went for one night, ended up stopping for 2.
Yes.
Because that was cheap. The place outside of Essaouira was too expensive to justify spending 2 nights. But this place, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it was the equivalent of maybe around £7.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's not a complete campsite. But it was huge as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And considering you're right next to a main road, you didn't hear any of it.
No.
I did hear the birds they had though. I've just remembered them. There was some turkeys, chickens, and ducks.
Down by the front.
In a pen together.
Yeah. Because
we joked that there was a certain mallard duck that had been following us around on this trip.
Yeah, because you just hear it laughing.
And then we heard that in Morocco. Oh God!
Like, what?
It's followed us.
Got a stalker duck. That's also that campsite.
Yes.
We didn't use it, but they also had a car wash thing.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Thing, yeah.
That seems fairly common in Morocco as well.
Yeah.
They all seem to have.
Which is nice.
Yeah, facilities to wash your vehicle. So yeah, that was just outside Tiznit. Could not remember. It wasn't on Google Maps when I looked.
What, the place?
The campsite, yeah.
Oh, I see.
I suppose it's taking it from my timeline. Maybe it doesn't know Maybe doesn't know it's there yet.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Because as we said in the last episode, there's a bit of an odd relationship between Google and Morocco. Certain Google features aren't available in Morocco. I do beg your pardon. That's my phone just going off. How very unprofessional of me.
How could you?
But then, so we spent 2 nights in the solar-powered place,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're heading to Legzira,
Yes.
which is famous.
Before you talk about Legzira,
Okay.
Tisnet that we were stopped near.
Yes.
That's basically like a fortified walled city.
Yes.
Do you remember?
I do.
And
yes.
we had to drive through the wall,
Through the wall. Yeah.
round the city, and then out the other side.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. It looks like if we went back to Morocco, I'd like to go and roam around Tisnet for a bit. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Tisnet is another big, well, not big touristy place, but that's one of those places to go and see. But unfortunately, we didn't know that, and we were just kind of driving through.
We had to get to Legzira.
And we had the big coastal road we had to follow.
Oh yeah.
Down, and just you just come in and out of. You just have a town, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And then a town, and then nothing, and then Legzira. There, in the car park we pulled into,
Yes.
we could have stayed overnight.
Yes.
They cost a little bit extra. Like most places, you give the guy a few dirham or look after your vehicle. They do have a set fee for overnight, but we weren't. We picked somewhere else out. But Legzira is famous, where it's known for its 2 stone archways.
Yes.
But there's only one now.
There is only one.
Well, there is a second.
Yes.
But it's on the floor.
Yes.
It collapsed, fell apart.
I don't think it was that long ago that it collapsed. Maybe 60s or 80s, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah. But there were murals painted down by, because you walk down to the entrance to the beach, and there are loads of restaurants and cafes and things.
Yes.
And you can also hire out, or go on little ATV rides and camel rides.
Yep.
And there's big murals of these 2 stone archways, because there is only one now. But the one that's still there is huge.
Impressive.
It really is like a feat of nature, like how imposing this thing is.
Crazy.
And we walked down, we walked under it, and we carried on the other way. We got to the remains
of the
other one, and we went past that bit, and it was quite an odd feeling, because it's like whenever we turned around from that beach, we were technically starting our way back out of Morocco.
Yes.
Because we were heading north again.
Yeah.
So it's like, alright, take one more step. One more step. Yeah, just stupid stuff like that. But we thought, no, we'll go back. We were getting a bit peckish.
Yes.
And we'll get something to eat. The problem was, the places there were either a little too expensive for what we were used to, or the one guy, very honestly, he said, well, we serve fish, and we ran out of fish because we catch them every morning. So all the stuff there is so fresh that they don't freeze anything, and they've ran out. So we thought, okay, we had a bit of a look, and there was another compound campsite sort of thing.
Yes.
We were going to use up the road in Merleft, which was probably about half an hour drive from Legzira. We thought, okay, we'll go there, and there's some restaurants there. We'll go. So we drove up, and we had trouble finding the place, because it was just a straight road, but Google thinks, no, let's go right and then come left later on onto this road. And it's just, again, it's some guy's back garden, basically.
Yeah.
But he's kitted it out with a communal kitchen, and there's communal seating areas.
Yeah.
It's again similar to what I imagine the one in Essaouira was like. We're all out here on a journey.
Yeah.
And so we get to know each other. There's 2 young lads.
Yeah.
Who were in the place, and they came out to greet us, and we had a bit of trouble getting the van in because the gate didn't open all the way.
No.
And
Moya's a big one.
Yeah, we sort of stopped at the wrong angle. But we got in, and they were very friendly and welcoming.
Yes.
Yeah, and we felt really bad.
Faux pas on our part.
Yeah, they kept inviting us for tea, and we're like, we are starving. Like, we need to go and get.
We didn't even have lunch that day, did we?
No,
we were so hungry.
I think we were hungry before we got to Legzira.
Yeah.
And thought, oh, we'll get something there. So we got to this campsite, and we're like, okay, do you mind if we'd love to come and have tea, but we need something to eat.
Yeah.
We are absolutely starving. So we'll come, because we still had to sign all the paperwork and such beforehand anyway. So we'll do that when we come back. and it was about a 5-minute walk to the beach.
Mm.
Wasn't it? Another beach, and there was some little cafes and restaurants on the beach. So we found one, ordered some more tagine.
Yes.
They did tell us it would take a while, because tagine typically does take about
45 minutes to an hour to
cook,
make.
yeah. So they said it's going to be a bit longer than that, because we were the only people in there eating.
Yeah.
So we did get to watch the sun go down over the Atlantic.
We did.
Well, there were dogs and cats coming to say hello.
Yes.
I think I had a little puppy dog sleeping under my chair
Yep.
at one point. But that was, I think we told them as such, that was the best tagine we'd had
I think that's true.
up to that point. I think it still
Even
was.
now, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the wait.
It's just amazing.
And we were so full.
Yeah.
But because it took so long, by the time we got back to the campsite, like, the lads had
Gone to bed.
gone to bed. Right? Oh, and then the next morning, it's like, oh, we're leaving now. Like,
Yeah.
we had to go out to get a cash point,
Yes.
and there was a market on in
Yeah, we rode
Mirleft.
around the market a little bit.
Yeah, which wasn't much. It was more like a cart of boots, really,
Well, it's
wasn't
just
it?
like the standard weekly markets that they have around in most of the towns.
Yeah,
Except Mirleft isn't that big, and there isn't really any major cities or anything around, so
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
a Diddy one.
The little diddy one on a bit of dirt.
Yeah.
So we got our cash out. We went back, and I felt bad because whenever they came out to talk to us, I was like, "I'm sorry, like I need to pay you now because we're leaving," and like because I think there's quite a Western thing. Like I just want them to have the money because I don't want them to think I'm trying to skimp out on the money.
Yeah.
So I'm always asking them like, "Oh, we're just leaving, and then we'll pay you," and they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like, you come back, it's fine. But you're not leaving yet, so don't worry about it." It's like, yeah, but I want to make sure you know I'm not going to try and run away.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a lot of the campsites. It's like, we'll pay, going to pay you up front, or no, when you leave. Don't worry about it. It's like, but we're stopping the night. You know, it's just that kind
Yeah.
of thing. I want to make sure that they know I'm going
You're
to
just
pay
a
them.
cynical one, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Yes. If I ever run a campsite, everyone would be paying up front. Contract written in blood. But yeah, so that was the most southern point of our trip,
It was.
and it was onwards and upwards
It was. Yes.
on our way to Taffraout.
Tough road. Yes. Onwards and upwards, eh?
Yes. So we'd
Only
been
geographically.
So we'd been to Paradise Valley, and our destination after Legzira was the Valley of the Vans,
Yes.
which was that a part of the hippie trail?
No, no, no.
Jimi Hendrix go there?
No, no, no. I don't
No,
think
no, no.
so. I don't think Jimi Hendrix has went around naming things valleys.
I don't know. He might have done. He was popular at the time.
Presume so, yeah.
But no, Taffraout. We're not going to get into this episode because that is a whole
That's for next
thing.
episode.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Before we wrap up
Of course.
and finish today's episode,
Yes.
I would like to say that I promised at the end of the previous Morocco episode
Mm.
that we would talk about the sat-navs.
Oh yes.
Yes. So, as we've said before in the previous episode, and Ben mentioned it in this one,
Yes.
Google Maps has some kind of permission issue with Morocco,
Yeah.
where Street View and directions don't work.
Correct.
Live directions don't work.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to use Google Maps, you've got to have one person navigating and the other person driving.
Yeah.
And that works okay.
Yes.
We also, before leaving for the trip, we paid for a sat-nav called Copilot.
Yes.
Yes, which was not very good in Morocco.
No, it wasn't very good in general. I think we bought Copilot because you can put in the dimensions of your vehicle,
Yeah.
so the height, width, and weight
Mm.
of your vehicle, and then it will adjust the route accordingly.
Accordingly, yes.
It does do that, but it's not very good with getting you where you want to go.
It sucks at everything else.
Yeah. But what we did do for Morocco, because you can use Google Maps, just not as live directions,
Mhm.
you can download the area
Yeah.
of Morocco onto your phone, so now you have an offline map.
Yeah.
I mean, once you've got SIM cards and that, it doesn't really matter. But
Mm.
that's certainly when you're going to Morocco, you won't have internet
Yeah.
until you can get that sorted.
Yeah. I'd recommend that anyways. That's something I think we did all the way along the trip.
Yeah,
Is that before you enter a country, or when you've got Wi-Fi and such,
yeah,
download the map of the next country, just the whole thing
yeah,
on Google Maps, so you're safe just in case.
yeah.
Another sat nav that we did try and then kind of gave up on was Sygic, GIC, I think, and that kinda worked, but it turned out that Google was still quicker
and
a
more
bit
accurate.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Morocco, there is a bit of an issue with sat navs.
I think the best bet all round is if you have a dedicated sat nav unit,
Yes.
as opposed to using apps on your phone. Obviously, that's much more expensive.
Yeah.
Especially campervan ones, they're like more than £200.
Yeah.
But they will be the most accurate, I'd imagine. You probably have to pay extra for a Moroccan map as well.
You would.
But that
You
is
would.
the best all round option. But
Yeah.
for free options, Google Maps is
It's okay as long as you've got a navigator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there are no laws in Morocco about using your phone while driving.
No, but
But it's still not safe.
safety first.
There's a reason it's illegal in most countries.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay. Well, that's Morocco Part 3. Still not sure how many parts this is going to be. But thank you very much for listening so far.
Yeah, thank you if you're still here.
Excuse me.
If you're still with us.
I need to have a drink during these things. This podcast is available on your most major podcast services. It's also available on YouTube if you want to watch it there. Please do like, share, subscribe, rate, comment, review on whatever platform. You can get in touch with us directly at, what's the email address?
CatavanUK@gmail.com.
There you go. The website is not an option anymore.
No.
We can't afford the upkeep for that, unfortunately. We do still have the domain, so that may be resurrected at some point.
Yeah.
But you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at CatavanUK.
Yes,
We do also have a Redbubble store
we do.
where you can mix and match things.
You can indeed. You can mix and match things.
Yeah, by
I
request.
just agreed to this, but
I thought that's what it was. So if they like a certain picture and a phrase or something that you've got.
yes. So I can customize things.
Yes,
That's what you mean.
that's what I mean.
I can customize if you've seen something on Instagram that you're like, oh, I love this picture. It's a picture of, I don't know, Dargo asleep on a chair. I want this on my wall.
And why wouldn't you?
Or as a duvet. Then let me know,
Oh
and
my
I will
goodness.
make your dreams come true.
Can that be a thing?
What a giant Dargo duvet.
Yeah.
She'd love it.
Why haven't we got that? That's amazing.
Christmas present sorted.
Sorted.
Yes. So
Okay.
let me know. Other than that, the gorilla pictures are doing very well,
Yes, plenty of people with gorilla
Yes,
masks walking around.
yes.
Yeah,
which is exciting.
it's interesting.
The
isn't it?
latest one is in Florida, so
Ooh,
maybe if they listen to this,
Floridians.
thank you.
Floridians with gorilla masks.
Yeah.
Well done for wearing masks.
Yes.
Wear a mask. Buy ours. So that's it. Next week will be Morocco Part 4, where
My goodness.
everything goes wrong.
Spoiler alert.
Again, so many things go wrong all the time on this trip.
They really
It's-
do.
It's amazing.
But
we made
that's
it back.
also, this is the last episode, I think, where Moya was white and black.
Oh, spoilers. It's spoiling next week. I
I don't know
suppose.
what I'm talking about.
I suppose. Okay, but we'll leave that scintillating,
Yeah,
just
scintillating.
tidbit, scintillating tidbit. There you go. That sounds a bit erotic, but anyway.
Ew.
Yeah, back next week with that one.
Yes,
I've been Ben.
I've been Frey. Dargo's been non-existent this
Yeah.
entire episode.
She is here, honest. And soon to be in a mattress form, so she'll always be with us.
Mattress. Excellent.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, we will. Bye-bye.
Bye.